Hey everybody, welcome to another Sandia Mountain Natural History Center quick trip. Thanks for joining us. Today we are out in the Hamez Mountains. Mountains that were born out of volcanoes but are a little bit calmer nowadays. I'm not sure where this adventure is going to take us. We're going to learn about a whole bunch of different things today. So let's get started. Jemez Mountains lie in north-central New Mexico. They're mostly volcanic, but the last eruption occurred 1.5 million years ago. There's over 720 plant species in the Hamez region, with life zones ranging from juniper grassland through mixed conifer all the way up to subalpine grasslands. When the Spanish began their colonization efforts in the 17th century, they heard the Toa word Hamez, meaning the people. They then translated it to the Spanish spelling J-E-M-E-Z, or Hamez. So we are on the Hamez Scenic Byway today, just doing some exploring, kind of a scouting mission to see what we find. Our travels the last couple weeks through New Mexico have had us crisscrossing the Continental Divide Trail, and today is no different. It cuts right through here in the Hamez Mountains. There is a long history of ranching and homesteading here in the Hamez. Here's a good example of one that didn't quite work out. This tuff, which is a volcanic rock, is really porous and very good for lichen growth. So we have all different types of lichen, from these green ones to the orange ones, grays, greens. That's pretty cool. So if you do this, please stop. But this is an aspen tree, and if we look, it has this really white bark. But if you smear along this white bark, you can see some of that white powder comes off. Native Americans and other people have used that as a sunscreen. Actually helps block the sun. It also helps the tree in the same way, reduces moisture loss. These are tiger swallowtails, real big butterflies. So we are at Seven Springs Fish Hatchery, and this hatchery is responsible for breeding Rio Grande cutthroat trout. That is a special trout that is found in the Hamez River, Pecos River, and I think a couple others, but it is a fairly rare fish. They tried to put it on the endangered species list a couple times, but it was denied. So this is a pretty important hatchery for maintaining the population of Rio Grande cutthroats. Yeah. These are races. I don't think these are used anymore. I think they have covered races because the cutthroat is a pretty important fish. They don't want predators to get in here. But I do believe they're still using their brood pond here. You see people fishing here, you think that that's unfair, but it's only young people, people under 12 years old, are allowed to fish here. So if you're a fan of the 1976 cult classic starring David Bowie called The Man Who Fell to Earth, you might recognize this spot. This is Fenton Lake State Park, and part of that was filmed right here. Shh, don't disturb the rocks on the dam. Shh. We're at the Hamez State Monument. Thought it was only fitting to stop here since the Jemez Mountains are named after the Hamez people who still live here to this day. The Hamez Pueblo is just down the road. So this church here was actually built by the Spanish in 1621 in an attempt to bring Christianity to the people that were living here. The Spanish tried to force the people living here to abandon their traditional practices and adopt Catholicism. From the very beginning, the Hamez resisted the Spanish oppression, which eventually led to the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. Sort of hard to capture the scale of how big this church was, but Daniel is about 6'2". Give you a little bit of idea how big that church was. So it's a pretty cool thing. They got a reconstructed kiva here that you can climb down into. And what's really interesting to me is the kivas were the ceremonial centers of these villages. And then right behind us, we have a church. Now we're not allowed to film down in the kiva out of respect, but I'm still gonna check it out. So this is pretty cool. There's a little weather station here. But the cool thing is, if you notice, Hamez Springs Weather Station, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, May 1st, 1910. They've been collecting data here for a very long time. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please take a second to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. We'll see you on the next one.